Hi, so I grew up in a conservative homeschooled environment and I witnessed this firsthand, and I am also culpable of doing this as a teenager. And in general, what you're seeing is a combination of purity culture, factors such as the Madonna whore complex, and also a side effect of fairly close-knit communities. In purity culture, you have a lot of Christian teenagers who are taught to believe that sexual desire is sinful. They are also often taught that women don't have sexual desire. And what happens is that this creates a culture of self-loathing because they're taught this at an age when someone's libido is very high, usually middle or high school. For that reason, there's a lot of self-loathing and guilt because people are feeling natural sexual desire that comes with age, and there's no way for them to express that or to even talk about it. And if they try to express that or talk about it with someone within their own social circles, so some other conservative woman, well, they run the risk of incurring shame and disavowal because that's frowned upon. So what do? They turn to someone outside of their own social circles because that's the only way that they can find someone who is willing to reciprocate that same level of desire without running the risk of shame. Basically, don't mess with the people in the in-group. If you're honest about what you want in the in-group, then you might be branded as promiscuous. And because of this, you go to someone in the out-group because what happens to them matters less. And this is not necessarily something that is exclusive to conservative circles. You can also see this in places like, for instance, Desi communities, where they will say, you can date white people, but don't marry them. You marry an Indian person to keep your parents happy. And that is just one example, but there are oftentimes people who will not marry outside of their own race or community or class, but they will date and they will, have casual relationships with people outside of their circles because there's less guilt and there's less risk. There's other reasons too. For instance, conservative women are often not considered as interesting as liberal or progressive women because conservative women are taught to be submissive of men, and a lot of men simply want to be submissive towards someone else. So liberal and progressive women are often seen as being more independent, more educated, and a lot of them tend to work higher paying jobs. And the other thing too is that it is often easier to date liberal or progressive women because they are willing to do more work to make your life more comfortable than conservative women who are simply going to be submissive to you. If someone is submissive to you, you have to do the work to lead the relationship. However, with liberal and progressive women who are more independent, they can end up doing a lot more work for you, which makes your life easier as a man. What you're seeing in real time is essentially men who are taking full advantage of the benefits of feminism, or at least trying to, while at the same time actively voting against preserving those rights in the first place. In short, you have a culture of shame around desires and vices, and in order for someone to act on those desires, they have to go to someone that they look down upon, or someone who is not in their social in-group. And at the same time, you have a culture that does not necessarily foster individuals who are very interesting. For that reason, liberal and progressive women are often more interesting as a whole, and because of this, men gravitate towards them. While at the same time, they're also more willing to do more for men than a conservative woman would because conservative women are taught to be submissive.